New Cape Line sparkling cocktails take you to a place where your wildest expectations meet real possibilities. These super delicious, bubbly twists on classic cocktails have all the flavor you expect from a margarita, hard strawberry lemonade, or blackberry mojito. And with just 6 simple ingredients and nothing artificial. On top of that, they are simple to enjoy, straight out of the fridge or on the go. Just pop open the can. Or if you're feeling extra fancy, looking at you wine drinkers, pour one over ice. It's beautiful. Go to capeline.com to find out where to buy these seriously delicious sparkling cocktails. Celebrate responsibly. 2019 Cape Line Beverages, Memphis, Tennessee. When hunger strikes, remember this set of numbers. 90, 10, 1. That's 90 calories, 10 grams of protein, 1 gram of sugar. These are the numbers of Protein 1, a bar that fills you up without loading you up. It's available in 4 tasty flavors that will help you kick your cravings. Try Protein 1 for your next snack emergency. Available at all major retailers. That's Walmart, Target, your local grocery store, even Amazon. And now, let's batch. Welcome to Bachelor Party, presented by Cape Line. I'm Juliette Littman. This is the Ringer Podcast Network. Today, I have 2 guests. One is Dustin Kendrick, who was on The Bachelorette until last week, and I think is the most prominent nose ring wearer of all time in this franchise. After that, we're also going to hear from my friend, Michael Ratner, who is the EP and director of Historical Roast on Netflix. But before that, I just wanted to go over some things that I missed from this week when Mina and I were chatting, had some time to really let the episode sink in. And so, Craig, my producer, I just want to chat about a few of these items. Can we just get into it?
Yeah, Juliette, let's do it.
Thank you for being so enthusiastic.
Sure.
My main thing is that I'm just so bored by Luke P. That I literally had to watch the Luke and Garrett meat fight like 7 times to really understand the gravity of it. And I feel like Mina and I kind of skipped over it. So I just wanted to discuss it a little bit more.
Why is deli meat the go-to serving option for Bachelor Nation?
I don't know. So this is certainly reminiscent of Chad, and I'm sure that all persons involved remembered that when Chad was like the main villain, he was eating a ton of deli meat all the time.
Can we get granola bars, trail mix? Like, it's got to be sliced deli meat just on a platter?
I think this is the most eating of food that I can really recall on any of these shows, like outside of drinking in Paradise. But like, they're just, they eat a lot, these dudes.
They do. I wish there was more. I want to see breakfast sit-downs and dinners with all the guys.
I know. I do too. And like, you know, I've discussed it in the past with other contestants. Like, they kind of just like wake up and there's usually like food available and they can start drinking whenever. But like, it's hard. I do really want to see like a call sheet. Like, what does the day look like?
I know. Is there a workout time? Do they eat and then work out together? I just would like to know more of their day to day.
They most go jogging together. These were all good questions that I should have thought of before I talked to Dustin. However, that portion is already recorded. Thank you, Craig. We'll be asking our next contestant on the show all of these, which fingers crossed will be Tyler, if I have any luck in this world.
That'll be a 2-hour interview. We'll never let him go.
Never. I think he's just so popular. But anyway, I always do this. Back to Garrett and Luke. Their fight was like just really immature. And if you really watch it and like dig into it, you kind of forget about all the storylines kind of overarching this season. Garrett comes off really badly in it.
It's impressive that I wanted him to go home over Luke in that moment.
I know you don't really feel bad for him. Luke, while probably shouldn't have shouted in his face or like dropped deli meat in his lap, Garrett like really eggs him on. And this week, I'm officially a little sympathetic towards Luke. I think the way that he views women is just so incredibly retrograde and disrespectful based on all the teasers that I'm not like, I feel bad for Luke, but there is like a more sympathy than there was last week because the dudes are like really at this point, they're like ganging up on him.
I agree. It's like that's the one thing that they can all like unite over is how much they hate Luke. But there are a few times where Luke is just kind of minding his own business and people just hammer him.
Yeah. And I think he seems annoying. And like, I don't even like to like be in a taxi with someone I don't like. So having to live in a house with someone I don't like would be extremely difficult for me.
I like the way Tyler and Peter have been handling it, where they just kind of chime in rarely when they think it's really necessary. I wish that was how the whole season was, but
is it rare though? Like, I don't know.
I guess.
I can't really tell. I think it's just like we're only seeing it a little bit, but I got the impression this week, I think Mina and I discussed this, that like Tyler is really the kind of the ringleader of the anti-Luke brigade at this point. And, you know, I think it was Garrett and Dylan as well. But when Luke went out of his way to be like, you know, like hearing that from Jed is really weird. I would have expected from Tyler. Just sort of gave us some insight, I think. But
I mean, you don't see Tyler putting bologna rings on his eyes to...
No. Garrett sucks. I think Garrett, like, I was like into Garrett, but now I'm like, no, actually, that dude is not cool.
No, I don't want to see him again. I hope he doesn't show up anywhere else.
Also, who puts deli meat on their face like that?
I know.
Kind of gross.
Also, a messed up move by Luke to drop the bologna on his lap.
Also, bologna. Of all the deli meats in the world, do they have to get bologna? I don't think that's like native to the Netherlands, but perhaps I'm wrong and it like has like more symbolic meaning.
Maybe a producer knew that like a pun was coming and they thought, well, maybe we'll drop bologna and Luke will dive on the opportunity.
Someone did reach out to me to tell me that I was like really off base about pickled herring in Scandinavia and that like I shouldn't. And you know what? This happens a lot on this show. Like, and sometimes it's like not as obvious when it's with like a European food or something, but there is just so much like exoticization that has to do with food, and I feel bad for being rude about the eating of the herring, but still, it wasn't appealing to me. But no. I guess it's more of a tradition than I realized.
Also, the way they ate it was not super appealing.
No, it was just the whole thing was an awkward date, but this was just like a really weird Luke episode where it just felt so contrived, and
I think we have to confront the actual reality now that he is legitimately right with the other guys.
What do you mean, right?
His chances of winning.
Oh, definitely.
I guess I didn't realize that until this episode. I was like, wow, he's actually right there with Tyler and Peter and everybody.
Well, I think the way that his story obviously meant something to her is really meaningful.
Yep. And next week, the hometown, I think religion is going to play a huge part of this. And
I agree.
Luke and his whole family praying in the preview is going to be an interesting situation for Hannah and all the other guys, I think, as well.
If you go back and watch some of her interviews, like from the beginning of the show and when things were getting started, she does make it clear that like sort of her what she calls her Southern values are really important to her. And I think part of that is her religion. And like, it's just become really real that's really apparent. That's one of the ways they connect that I think has been downplayed previously this season.
Curious to see Luke's parents.
Me too.
What they're like.
Super excited. I'm actually excited to see everyone's parents, though. It really is so telling. And the ones who I'm like kind of like the least interested in are Peter's. I just feel like they're going to be like total and normal. Peter's just really normal.
He's super normal.
He's just like a regular guy. He could work at the Ringer. He's done with his career as being a pilot. And he's just like ready to be land bound. And let me tell you, digital media is super land bound.
I'm glad he's given up on the pilot puns. There was enough of those. He's kind of pulled the reins on those. I'm happy.
I presume those were forced on him.
Yeah, probably.
Just my opinion. Garrett like just really left on a bad note, very sour. I kind of hope he gets to go to paradise. I feel like he needs to redeem himself a little bit.
He handled the breakup well. A lot of the guys on this season have done a really good job with getting broken up with. They've all been extremely respectful, said good luck, and gotten to the car.
I think it's partially because they really like each other. I'm not sure that anyone is like as in love with Hannah as they claim. Not because she doesn't deserve it and she's not awesome, but it does seem like there's not a lot of hard feelings going on.
I wonder how many people each season actually find true feelings for the lead.
I think what happens is, as far as I can tell, based on the folks I've spoken to, is that it feels very real in the moment. And like everyone's had that kind of like you're in a bubble and it just feels like a bigger deal.
Or like in school, like you develop a crush on somebody you sit next to in class.
Yeah, so it intensifies quickly. But then I think after the show, if it actually is a good match, like the couples that are successful, it's because they kind of like date, you know? They don't just like go straight into marriage or whatnot.
Paradise is still the best way to meet somebody. You date for like 2 weeks on the show and then you leave and have a normal life.
Yeah, or a long distance normal life, I guess.
Like Evan and Carly.
Unless you're all in LA. Are they the best example of people from Paradise? I think Astrid and Kevin are the best example, actually. She moved to Canada for him. Freaking Canada, which seems great. But
and Goose and Crystal.
Yeah, Goose and Crystal.
That's the most surprising one to me. He was kind of insufferable.
So was she. Her voice. She spoke with a different voice for the entire season.
She turned it around a little bit in Paradise, but maybe that's why they get along.
I guess. They're both Paradise reclamation projects. Another thing I forgot to mention when chatting with Mina, 0 seconds, 0 minutes for Chris Harrison this week. He bageled.
Maybe he didn't make the trip.
Oh my God. I wonder if he's a Netherlands guy. That is possible, but it's just the way that it all went down. We didn't really need him.
There's not enough I feel like all the guys know how to kind of like
give good interview?
Yeah, they just like lead the show themselves, like Tyler and like the way they go about things. Like it's all very orchestrated where I feel like I don't need Chris Harrison.
Yeah, it's true. He doesn't. Now that she seems like she's gotten her bearings back, it seems like he's less necessary. But I also like kind of forgot he wasn't in it until I was like, oh right, no Chris Harrison, no Chris Harrison TRT to count out for this show.
Does he go to each hometown?
No, he does not. What happens is Hannah goes to them with the producers and then she meets him back in LA right after. I really think that the like weird sit down she had with Chris Harrison and the sparkly dress from the mid-season like preview episode or mid-season special, I think that was filmed probably right after the rose ceremony in LA.
And they just tacked that on because they wanted to show more Luke fights?
I guess, or just ABC ordered an extra episode or something like that. That kind of scheduling thing happens. You can't predict all of it right away. So they probably had like a last minute ad or something like that.
Yeah, it was a boring interview.
Super boring. We didn't learn very much, but that's okay. I'm really ready for Luke to leave. I feel like we all are.
I actually think it would be fun to have him now just as the final two.
Luke and someone else?
Yeah, screw it.
Luke and Garrett obviously would have been good. At this point, Luke and Tyler would be the best.
Luke and Tyler
matchup.
would be insane. I don't know what would happen if she picked Luke over Tyler in the moment.
Me neither. I think like America would revolt. Tyler's beloved. How do you feel about Tyler?
I think he's great. I'm actually annoyed at how little flaws I can find in him.
I know. He just seems so delightful. And I just, the way I feel about Tyler's on record.
I even like that he's a little bit mean. Like, I like that he kind of dug Luke for being 5'8" for no reason.
Yeah, you can't be perfect all the time.
No.
And also, it's not his fault that he's 5'8". Also, I don't believe he's 5'8". I think he's probably more like 5'10".
Okay.
Because I feel like if you're being rude, you kind of, like, you dial it back, to, like, literally belittle him.
I'm surprised Luke didn't say anything back. Like, actually, I'm 5'10". That feels like something he would have done.
He might have, and we didn't see it, to be honest.
True.
It's hard to say.
Yeah, because as we saw, he played football growing up, and it listed him as 6 foot. Don't believe that.
I don't believe that either. By the way, if you haven't read Roger's recap from this week, it's really good. And I really recommend it because Roger goes deep on what could be where and what could be the windmill sex. It seems like the internet seems to think it was Jed in Europe or like a week we've already seen, but I really don't think so. I firmly believe it happens in Mykonos, and I think it's not Jed or Luke. I think it's either Peter or Tyler. And I'm going with Tyler for the infamous windmill sex.
That would check out for Tyler.
But that, I think, means that Peter goes home at hometowns, if true.
Which I can't see that. I don't know.
Hard. We'll find out, I guess. We're going to get into it. We'll see in the coming weeks. We're also going to talk to Dustin Kendrick, who is back in Chicago living his life and organizing fun runs.
The nose ring pioneer.
I'm excited to discuss that with him. But first, let's talk about a few more of today's sponsors. Your stomach is rumbling. You need something to fill it. Hunger strikes so aggressively that it's easy to grab for the nearest snack. Donuts in the break room, a bag of vending machine goodies, or a muffin from the downstairs cafe. But when you're in need of a quick, tasty treat, there's only one set of numbers you need to remember. 90, 10, 1. 90 calories, 10 grams of protein, 1 gram of sugar. These are the numbers of Protein 1, a bar that fills you up without loading you up. Available in tasty flavors that will help kick your cravings, including chocolate chip, peanut butter chocolate chip, chocolate fudge, and strawberries and cream. I keep these bars in my desk so that when I'm in between podcasts, in between meetings, or just too lazy to go get some other food, I just eat one of these and it really tides me over. So you too should try Protein 1 for your next snack emergency. They're available at all major retailers. That's Walmart, Target, the local grocery store, or Amazon. Are you looking to elevate your home style but feel hemmed in by square footage? Article's beautiful modern furniture helps you make a design impact, even with a small space, so you never have to compromise on great style. Article is the easiest way to buy beautiful modern furniture and save 30% over traditional prices. They cut out the middleman to sell you their goods directly and keep prices low. That means no showrooms, no salespeople, and no retail markups. Article focuses on quality and construction, offering beautifully crafted contemporary pieces at fair prices. Article offers fast, flat-rate shipping to anywhere in the U.S. and Canada, starting at just $49 with free basic shipping on orders over $9.99 and additional options for in-room delivery and assembly assistance. In-stock items will be delivered in 2 weeks or less, and you get 30 days to return or exchange. I have quite a few pieces of Article in my home, and I have to say I love them. I will have one in particular that's a cabinet that, you know what, I think it was intended to be for like your kitchen, for storage in your living room, or like use it as like a bar piece, but I use it for my linens and my shoes, and I absolutely love it. I also have a great little side table next to my couch and a wonderful lamp. I am all in on Article. If you want to be all in on Article, they will offer you $50 off your first purchase of $100 or more when you visit article.com/bachelor. Go to article.com/bachelor. The discount will be automatically applied at checkout. Once again, that's article.com/bachelor to get $50 off your first purchase of $100 or more. All right, Craig, let's talk to Dustin. He is calling in from Chicago, where this evening, today's Tuesday, he will be hosting one of these famed fun runs that Tyler has started, and he's taking it to the Midwest. Let's get him on the line. And now on the other line, I have Dustin Kendrick. Hi, Dustin.
Hey, guys. How you guys doing?
We're doing great, thank you. How are you? This was your first week watching The Bachelorette, not being on The Bachelorette of Hannah's season.
It's kind of crazy. But it's still all good. It's kind of nice not seeing it. Sometimes I cringe when I hear myself talk or see myself do something. So it was kind of refreshing. So it was good.
What was the hardest thing for you to watch of yourself throughout this experience?
The hardest thing to watch for myself, I don't know. I would say, watching me and Hannah have like an intimate kissing moment.
Sure.
That was a little weird just to be that close up and watching it. I don't know. That was a little weird, but it was good though.
What's been the biggest surprise of watching this season?
I guess, everyone knows like the Luke P thing going on. And I did know to a certain, living there to a certain extent how he was acting. But in his interviews, I had no idea. Like it really revealed a lot about him.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. I don't know if I was surprised, but it was still, I don't know, interesting for sure.
What kind of thing was revealed?
Just how he was talking, like, in his interviews, like blaming other people when he's clearly the one in the wrong. It's just ridiculous. But yeah, I thought that was pretty crazy.
Who have you been watching the show with? Like, do you watch alone? Do you get friends to watch with you? Like, what's that process like for you on Monday nights? It must be really weird. Like, you're just like not on television, and then all of a sudden you're on it every Monday.
Yeah, for sure. I do have friends that love the show, so I do watch with some friends. A lot of times I just like to watch it by myself, though, because again, I get a little nervous on what I'm gonna say or how I look or whatnot. I don't know. It's really weird for people to watch you on there. So,
what's been like the weirdest feedback that you've gotten?
The weirdest feedback?
Yeah, or like what's just like I mean, are you still reading your mentions? Are you still like on Instagram a lot? Like, I think that it's obviously good to like, be in the mix and respond to people. But I think me personally, if I were on the show, I would just need to have some kind of like social media blackout because I feel like it would like all get to me. I'm definitely sensitive. I admire people who can go on television in this capacity. I could never do it. So like, what's it been like, seeing your like follower count rise and like reading your mentions and seeing what people are saying on Instagram?
For sure. I think for the most part, everyone's been very supportive and nice. You do have a few that like to talk shit, so to say. Maybe about my nose ring. I got a lot of things about my nose.
I actually wrote down in my notes just nose ring because I wanted to talk to you about it. I feel like you're doing a lot for nose ring culture in America.
Nose ring culture, yeah. I was told I'm the first in history to get that far with a nose ring. So, forget, winning or becoming the Bachelor. I'm down in history already.
I completely agree. It's very 90s. I feel like it's very real world San Francisco, but the 90s are back.
They're back. They are for sure back.
So people are coming at you about your nose ring? That's so upsetting to me. What are they saying?
Yeah, some people just don't like the nose ring on me.
Don't listen to them, man.
Exactly what they say, but yeah, they're not a big fan of it.
Don't listen. I can't believe it. Is it
new? I won't.
Is it new? Like, is it special for The Bachelorette? I've been rocking it a long time.
No, I've had it off and on. I had it back like 2-3 years ago, but I had to take it out for work opportunities. But I put it back in last summer. Yeah, and I just like it. It's a part of me.
I like it too. I support you.
Personality, so. Yeah, I appreciate it. I'm trying to be like Lenny Kravitz.
Oh my goodness! Did you see the pictures of him at Zoe?
Bachelorette.
Yeah. Did you ever see him at his daughter's wedding over the weekend in Paris? A lot of glamorous pictures of him.
Oh, I'll have to check that out.
Check out the Daily Mail. You just mentioned work opportunities. What kind of stuff were you up to before going on the show?
So I'm a real estate broker. A couple years ago, I just did an internship with a developer to learn more of the real estate business, and I just wanted to be more professional.
Sure.
So to say, even though I do think it's professional, but
sure.
I don't know. At that time, I wanted to take it out.
Sure, more conservative.
But yeah, I'm a real estate broker. Yeah, I'm a real estate broker. I'm also a server. I also do modeling here and there, so I stay pretty busy.
It sounds like it. I went to college in Chicago. Great city.
Oh, nice. Where'd you go?
Northwestern. It's not in Chicago, I know.
Nice.
It's right outside.
Oh, it's a great school though. You're Chicago.
Thank you.
Same.
I appreciate it. What's it been like getting back to your life? Like, what's been the weirdest part of going off the grid for like 6 weeks, however long it was, and then like returning to real life? What's been the most challenging, and what's been just like something you didn't expect?
It was nice being fed like 3 to 4 times a day without having to pay for anything. But coming back was actually good to get back to real life. The only thing, everything's the same. The only thing that's different is when I walk down the street, people might recognize me. someone to take a photo, which is super cool. You know, it's awesome.
That is awesome. Cool. That sounds. If I was just in Chicago, wish I'd run into you for a picture. Oh
yeah.
I want to ask you some questions about the other guys in the house. We'll just go through them quickly. You know, just whatever you think of, spit it out. We're gonna start with Jed, and I promise it won't be controversial. How often is Jed with his guitar? How many hours of the day?
He's with his. I mean, he loves his guitar. Honestly, we actually pushed him to play his guitar. Because that was our only entertainment we had, really. But he played it a couple times a day.
That's a lot.
Yeah, we asked him. We were like, hey, play the song. Please play the song. And we would just all in a group rap or freestyle or sing to a song. He was a lifesaver for that guitar, honestly.
Wow. Okay. He does seem popular inside the house.
Yeah, he's a great guy. He's a great sweet guy.
Who's the most popular? Or not most popular, because it's not high school, but like, who was like a really fun personality to be around that's not coming through from the show that we're seeing? Like, for example, you didn't get a ton of like, this is who I am, this is my personality, and I'm cool. But everyone says nice things about you.
Yeah, I would say Dylan for sure. Dylan is hilarious. That guy can make me laugh at all times of the day. You guys can't really see much of him either, but his facial expressions throughout the show could tell you his personality is pretty hilarious.
Yeah, he's good for a lot of gifts. I feel like those are circulating.
Oh my God. He's so funny.
Who was like the sort of ringleader in the house? Like who kind of like would build the most consensus and like people would just want to, you know, sort of was like a leader?
I would go ahead and say Big Mike. Everyone loves Big Mike. Mike's an honest, genuine guy. He speaks from his heart. He speaks the truth. And I think a lot of people gravitated towards him for that. Okay.
He does seem like a really nice guy. It was sad to see him go home last night.
Yeah, it was sad to see that.
I feel like he'll be in the mix. Do you feel like you're a part of Bachelor Nation yet? Like, it's like, I feel like it's a whole phenomenon that people become a part of after they're on the show. Like, do you feel like you're in it yet, or are you still new to this world?
I think I'm still new to the world, I'm like just tippy-toeing in, seeing what it's all about. But so far, the experience of Bachelor world has been great. I had nothing bad to say about it.
I know last weekend or sometime recently you were in New York and you did a fun run with Tyler in Central Park. What was it like seeing all of this whole group of people, all this mostly women, come out for you guys and like just want to jog with you? Like, what was that experience like? And walk me through it.
That was surreal. That was an insane experience. But
what was insane about it?
I felt like I was just like in a rock band or something like that, with like all these girl fans around and whatnot. It was insane. I've never experienced anything like that before. Crazy, but for sure, a great time.
How do you make it so they don't like follow you home after? Like, how do you leave? Like, I feel like with rock bands, they have like handlers to take care of that for you. But like, how do you like exit the fray?
We're pretty athletic, so we just gave each other a nod and just took off running.
Oh my God.
We just dipped out.
So you just literally ran away from a horde of girls.
We did. It was a good time.
That's really funny. How did your own fun run in Chicago go? Did it happen?
No, I haven't did yet. Actually, we're doing it tonight at 6:30.
Oh, nice.
Hopefully it doesn't rain or storm, but yeah, it's still going down.
How often are you getting stopped on the street? You mentioned that it happens, but like, is it every day? Is it every other day?
It's every day. Every day for sure.
Wow.
I'd probably take anywhere from 10 to 20 photos a day.
Jesus Christ. You have to like carve time out for that then.
Yeah. Well, I work in the service industry, so I work at like a pretty popular restaurant here in Chicago, and people just recognize me.
Are you willing to say where it is? You don't have to.
Yeah, I work at Soho House in Chicago.
Oh, I just ate at the Alice. It was so good.
That's where I was serving.
Oh my God, how did I miss you?
Yeah, it's a huge house. It's beautiful.
It's really nice, and that pool is not overcrowded. How did you end up on the show? Like, who nominated you, and what did you know about it before you went on?
So I had a coworker come up to me one day. He was like, "I've been working out with one of the recruiters for the Bachelorette. I think you should do it." And I was like, "What? That show? That's still going on? Man, that show's been on for a minute." And I first turned it down. I was like, "No, I don't know if that's for me." And then a couple of days later, I just thought to myself, I might as well. Why not? Never know what will come out of that. So, and I told him, sure. And here I am talking to you guys now.
Yeah, seriously.
Crazy how it works.
I'm just here peppering you with questions. Did you overall like the experience of being on television?
Yeah, I've been enjoying it. It was for sure an adjustment. I'm just a regular old Joe. Like, I'm not used to cameras and being on TV. So I was a little shocked at first, but it's been great so far. It's so much fun.
That's awesome. How has it been for your family?
My family is so tickled by it. So I'm originally from a small town about 5 hours south of Chicago.
Oh.
Super small town.
Illinois or Indiana?
Around there. In Illinois. Married Illinois.
Okay.
Borderline Kentucky. Almost like Kentucky.
Gotcha. That's like how you drive to the Derby from Chicago. Straight down.
Yeah, not too far. Everyone's tickled in my family. They're just eating it up, and my hometown is just super supportive as well.
That's awesome. Well, Dustin, thank you so much for taking the time today. I hope that eventually you don't have to take 20 photos per day, but also I hope you enjoy it while it goes on.
It's okay. I'm on my last 5 minutes of 15 minutes of fame, so it's all good.
Do you have any predictions of how things are going to shake out with Luke P?
Oh, I just hope he goes home. I want him to go home.
Me too. I'm sick of him.
The other guys, I don't think Hannah could go wrong. In my opinion, being in the house with most of those guys, and spending a lot of time and having like deep conversations with them. Minus with P, I don't think she could go wrong. All great guys.
It does seem like you guys really liked each other.
Yeah, it's weird, right? I was hoping that wasn't going to happen, I needed to be like competitive and dislike some guys, but it just didn't work that way.
Last question. Who are you still in touch with the most?
I'm in touch with, I like to stay in touch with all the guys who like social media and whatnot, and we like to crack jokes on one another. Honestly, majority of the guys I can call lifelong friends for sure.
That's awesome. What a happy story. Dustin, don't take out your nose ring and have a great day.
I won't. Thank you.
Okay. Well, great to hear from Dustin. I really do wish him well. And I can't believe people are giving him negative feedback on the nose ring. It's just completely ludicrous. I look forward to talking more of these Bachelorette contestants now that they're no longer on the show and are free to do interviews. Hopefully we'll be talking to more of them, including you-know-who. We are going to talk next with a good friend of mine who has a show on Netflix called Historical Roast. But first, let's talk about Cape Line. It's July 4th weekend. What better way to celebrate the holiday and Hannah B's journey to find love than with something delightfully bubbly? There's new Cape Line sparkling cocktails, which have all the flavor you want and nothing you don't. Discover the margarita, hard strawberry lemonade, and blackberry mojito of your dreams with just 6 simple ingredients and nothing artificial. Go to capeline.com and find out where to buy a 6 or 12-pack of these beauties, get them in your fridge, and get ready to open up a can of having it all. Welcome to Cape Line. Celebrate responsibly. 2019 Cape Line Beverages, Memphis, Tennessee. Alrighty, and now a quick pivot away from strictly reality TV and The Bachelor. A good friend of mine named Michael Ratner has a show on Netflix called Historical Roast, which perhaps you'll want to check out over this weekend, this holiday weekend. So let's talk to him for a few minutes and hear what it's all about. And now on the phone, I have my friend, the executive producer and director of Netflix's Historical Roast. This is Michael Ratner. Hi, Michael.
Hello.
So we've done podcasts together before. We've done 2.
This is our third.
This is our third, yeah. The other ones have been on the NBA show, though, because you were directing a show called The Fifth Quarter, which was like kind of like a 30 for 30 mockumentary starring athletes. And you've taken your talents to Netflix, working with a lot of comedians on Historical Roast. Will you just give a brief overview of what Historical Roast is?
We are roasting dead people. There's something wrong with us. No, well, that is the truth.
Yeah,
but no,
that is the overview.
Yeah, that's the long and the short of it. But we're roasting dead people ultimately so we can teach millennials about history, world history, and each episode focuses on a different, famous historical figure, and their contemporaries are roasting them. So if it's Abe Lincoln, it's John Wilkes Booth or Harriet Tubman, and you're ultimately learning all about that time period. And they're played by famous people and big celebrities and comedians, and we had a really good time doing it.
And hosted by Jeffrey Ross.
And hosted by the Jeffrey Ross, who's like a time-traveling roastmaster general in each episode. Yeah.
His comedy skills can't be limited to just one century, He has to go all over the map.
No, he bounces around. Yeah, we cover everybody from Cleopatra to Freddie Mercury to Abe Lincoln. A lot of bouncing around the world and time periods.
One thing I wanted to ask you about, reality TV editing is such a big deal and so often discussed. And I went to the taping of the Freddie Mercury episode where Freddie Mercury was roasted by Princess Diana, someone I love a lot. David Bowie and Kurt Cobain, and it was pretty cool. Like sitting on a TV taping, I think people don't really necessarily understand how you then put it together afterwards. And this is like particularly true with like a lot of Bachelor stuff because they record some stuff in studio and whatever. And like, what's the biggest challenge in recording in front of a live audience and then creating like a finished product that's intended for a home audience afterwards?
Yeah, live to tape is like a whole different beast. I mean, you're recording in front of a group of people who are also there just for the live event. Like they want to have a good night. So you're thinking about those people, but then ultimately that's like a few hundred people versus what's going to ultimately be the final product, which is in over 190 countries, around the world.
Shout out Netflix.
And millions of people. Yeah. Shout out Netflix. So you take a lot of time to make sure that you record. I don't know. You were there. You saw it's probably like an hour and a half for what's ultimately 29 minutes. And you do have to be mindful of what's going to ultimately cut in the edit, but you find some of that in the edit. But that's the case with anything. I mean, also, another show we do, which I think we talked about on one of the podcasts, is our show with Kevin Hart called Cold as Balls. And like those interviews, or episodes, we film like an hour and then that goes down to 10 minutes. So, I feel like with all of these sort of unscripted formats, you allow it to go where it goes and let things unfold naturally. And then you need to make sure that you're doing everything right, technically, and also to give yourself the best chance to make it work really well and tighten it and see what works best in post. But yeah, I mean, you live in that room, finding exactly what to keep and what to leave on the editing room floor.
I feel like it's just fascinating because with reality TV, it's such a huge part of the show. And I think like people like often are like I got a bad edit, or it's a really common discussion to be like, is this accurate and are they being portrayed properly? And to me it's like so much more about tone, the way that shows ended up editing versus like what's like true or not, essentially. And I think it's like fascinating and the kind of thing that you don't necessarily have access to if you don't get to like be a part of the television process. And
and what I'll say is like, you still did whatever you did.
Yeah.
Like, like you did do that. Like 100% you can edit somebody to look worse or better, and you can manipulate an edit. You still said certain words, and like, listen, there's exceptions to that where people are edited and there's just a sliver of something that's taken out of context. And that's not great. Like that's not something you should do if you're in charge of an edit. I don't think that that's fair, but for the most part, you're seeing something that took place. And that's, you should always be careful what you say when there's cameras around.
That's like basically how every Real Housewives reunion ends. Like, you actually did that. You can't actually take it back. One thing I wanted to ask you is for the Abraham Lincoln episode, the Abraham Lincoln is played by Bob Saget and John Wilkes Booth is played by John Stamos, both of Full House fame. And I was just
Fuller House.
Fuller House as well. It's kind of crazy. Did you watch Full House as a kid?
I did, of course.
I feel like you're like a little young for it.
I'm not a psychopath. I watched.
What was their relationship like on set?
They're like best friends, and they're extremely close with Jeff as well. They were some of the first people to sign up to play those characters. I mean, what an awesome Abraham Lincoln to have it be Bob Saget, and then just sort of the subtext of Wilkes Booth being Stamos, and they had so much fun. Their chemistry was awesome, and there's a lot of surface jokes about obviously them in character, but then they even slipped out every so often to sort of take jabs at each other as the real people, which was really fun. But no, they're super close. It was awesome to see, and who knew they had such a close relationship with Jeff Ross as well. So it all came together, and I think that episode worked so well because you're up there and it's almost like a filmed play, and it's like the theatrics of it all. And if you're having a good time with it, that just makes it come off that much better.
It's so funny to hear about Bob Saget in real life because he's like so not Danny Tanner, who's like really.
Oh no.
He's like,
but he's an awesome guy.
Yeah, he's like
he was
famously
really cool
like
and
dirty comedian.
oh yeah.
I mean,
yeah. his and also his monologue, at the end, was riddled with like sort of dirty jokes and whatnot. And again, what we did, we gave every actor playing their role, of course, like they had lines, like. This might be news to some, but unscripted stuff frequently does have lines as well.
Sure. You have to certain beats you have to hit.
Oh yeah, there was a full, unbelievable, diverse writers' room of like 15 people on this.
Yeah.
Everything was written because this is sort of that hybrid alternative area, not really an unscripted show. It's sort of a breed of semi-scripted. But we gave all actors an opportunity to make it their own and add, as long as it was historically accurate. We had researchers and everything. It was very important to us that we weren't distorting history and we were giving, facts. But he added a bunch of stuff that just had that comedian Bob Saget spin to it, not so much Danny Tanner.
Sure. Michael, when we worked together on Can I Steal You for a Second for Hulu, you weren't a huge Bachelor fan, which is okay. I feel like you supported.
You turned to me.
To support me. Yeah. This is a particularly crazy, you probably aren't aware, but this season of The Bachelorette is like insane because of a lot of rumors happening off the show. And just from your small window into it, I'm curious what your sort of like biggest astonishment was with Bachelor Nation, which is the legion of fans that watch this show.
I mean, I was in the truck watching you, and my jaw kept dropping because I was like, it can't be like this every second, and everybody's like, no, it is. I mean, obviously it was a highlight show, but I was just watching these crazy arguments, and I get it's super addictive, and I was like, I need to find out who wins this thing, and all I knew was really what we did that day. Like, we obviously came in to support The Ringer and make the project, for Hulu, but I was not a huge fan, and then I can understand why if I was watching week after week that I would be very invested. And again, like you said, like some of the things these people were saying with cameras on are shocking, but it was super fun. And I think that the way you guys break it down and almost look at it like it's like a sporting event, because in some ways it is. Like it's a competition. It's really intense and fun, and I get it now.
Tons of athletes on the show, like not actual athletes, like they like kind of made it to the NFL. There's a lot of football Bachelor crossover, and I don't exactly know why. I guess I don't know. I can't completely explain it, but like almost every time I do an episode, there's like some kind of football reference. So whatever.
Really?
Yeah. I just it happens, and I've been advocating for
an athlete Bachelor. I thought there was a Bachelor who was like an ex-pro.
Well, Jesse Palmer was the Bachelor a long time ago. So he wasn't.
There you go. See, I got the knowledge.
He that does count. And then the Bachelor Colton, was in the NFL for like 1 second. He was on the practice squad. Doesn't even count. But
he made the practice squad. Come on.
You're right. You're nicer than me. I like.
My Lord.
I really have always wanted there to be an NBA Bachelor, but the season just doesn't work out because they have to film in mid-September to mid-November, which like just doesn't work with most athlete schedules. Huge bummer.
For a big enough NBA star, they should shift the schedule and get those crossover eyeballs. I think a lot of people would tune in for that.
I mean, it'd be good synergy since it's ABC and ESPN.
There you go.
The Celtics were on this season. Happen. Yeah, exactly. Michael, thank you so much. If you are at home this July 4th weekend, check out Historical Roast. It's on Netflix, just waiting for you.
Thank you. I got to keep making stuff so we can keep doing this.
Yeah, exactly. I'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, Juliet.
Bye.
Thanks, guys. Bye.
All right. I hope you all have great 4th of July weekends. Thank you to Michael. Thank you to Dustin. Thank you to Cape Line. Thank you to Article. Thank you to General Mills. Remember, when hunger strikes, just remember this set of numbers. That's 90, 10, 1. 90 calories, 10 grams of protein, 1 gram of sugar. These are the numbers of Protein 1, a bar that fills you up without loading you up. It's available in 4 tasty flavors that will help kick your cravings. Try Protein 1 for your next snack emergency. It's available at all retailers, Walmart, Target, your local grocery store, and Amazon. Have a great weekend, everyone. I'll be back on Monday night.